Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. How are you doing today? I'm back with my good friend, the Lumberjack Landlord. How you doing, sir?
Doing awesome, Mike. Ready for this awesome number 3 topic.
Yeah, so this number 3 topic is actually something I am seeing, sensing, feeling in my comments. If it hasn't hit your radar yet, it will, because your channel is blowing up. Folks, if you're not following the Lumberjack Landlord on YouTube, you're missing out. It just speaks the truth, just puts it out there. So do yourself a favor and subscribe. But here it is. This is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a slant in my comments where there's I don't know. See, I can't tell if it's a growing faction or the faction is just getting louder. I don't know which one, but basically it is this. The government hates mom and pop landlords. The government wants to feed Wall Street single family homes. And then the government wants you to own nothing and like it. All of that doesn't strike me as very American. All of that strikes me as, an interesting opinion. But before I kind of dive in with my thoughts, what do you think of when you hear things like that?
I think that, they're doing, it's like their playbook always has been, which is never let a good, crisis go to waste. And I think that we've heard about all of these accelerations across the board, right? People are saying, oh, well, the crisis over the last year and a half has actually meant 7 years of progress, right? You're hearing that everywhere. And I think it's exactly the same thing that's happening here. I think that in many cases, even if you just look at the election results, whatever it is, 79 people loved it, 77 people hated it.
Right.
So it's not like there's a more within the margins divide in the country. And one, what won was more programs, more assistance, more aid, more government involvement versus less government involvement, less programs, less aid. That's right. That's the difference. And so what I think is I think that, if quite frankly, if Trump had won, the left would be a whole lot louder than they're being right now. So I think it's, the losing party is always the one that's going to be making more noise, because everything that's going to occur is going to occur based on the winning party's playbook, which 77 million people disagreed with.
Yeah, so I'm just going to tackle these topics one at a time, because I think we can go down the political aisle, which I don't think this is a political divide. I think there's just a talk track that people are trying to say to get people emotional, and that's what people are trying to tug on. They're not trying to tug on right or left, red or blue. They're trying to tug on emotions, and the emotion they're trying to tackle is an American, at least what I consider American, right? Capitalist investment, all of that. So the first one. Do I believe that the government is creating a playbook that ultimately leads to zero mom and pop landlords in the near future? No. I think in general, the government believes that mom and pop landlords do great things. I think they have historically proven that government-owned housing sucks. And most of them realize they should never do that. Now, there will be some, and that's why there is a government of all people vote. But again, in order to pass something, you need the majority. So no, I do not believe that I shouldn't say anyone. I do not believe the majority of the folks in government today want to kill, crush, eliminate mom and pop landlords. I don't believe that.
I agree.
Okay.
Yep. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think that it's more on the edges, if you will.
Yeah, sure.
So I think it's but it's not what's good for the goose is good for the gander. It's like if you're kind of in what they want to incent, right? Then they're all going to be all for it. And I think that what you and I saw in the last crash was all of a sudden Fannie Freddie went from being able to own 10 of your loans to 4.
Yeah. And now, I would argue that the government wants mom and pop landlords to be bigger than they are today, because one of the biggest things coming out of the last crisis is Wall Street gobbled up homes after homes after homes. And now that I actually do believe that the government will come out in the next 5 years with some kind of passage that basically says big banks, Wall Street, hedge funds, insurance companies can't play in the single family market. But that's reverse of what some of the other folks are saying, right? Some people are saying mom and pops go away, Wall Street gets big. I think it's the entire reverse of that.
I think it has to get worse before it gets better.
Of course.
Right. And then I think that when they go to attack the problem, they'll do it wrong.
Of course.
Because they use a sledgehammer instead of a scalpel.
Correct.
And so that's where I think this all kind of leads to, which is I think that it's creating a greater divide of ownership, building business, building wealth, and not. I think that that's a greater divide. And so I think that's what will continue to increase over the next
Yeah.
14 months and 23 days.
There you go. Yeah. Again, this is all going to hinge on the midterm election, folks. Make sure you get out and vote, whether party you're on. Vote, vote, vote. Your vote counts. So I've got to go. I've got a very surprise guest here at 9 o'clock.
Awesome.
Why don't you tell people how to find you and talk about your Sunday session?
Awesome. So lumberjacklandlord.com, Lumberjack Landlord on YouTube, and we are live streaming 11 a.m. Eastern time. 11 a.m. Eastern time this coming Sunday. 11 a.m. Eastern time this coming Sunday. So the Lumberjack Landlord wants to see you there. And if I've ever answered one of your questions, what the hell, like show up, because I don't want to just do that with, I mean, I bet Dion will be there because he's a nice guy like that.
Yeah,
you'll be busy doing other interviews.
I will. Yeah, exactly. I got an interview at that time. Yeah. So again, folks, 11 a.m. Eastern Sunday, come check the Lumberjack Landlord live streaming on YouTube. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Mike.